the rain has gone away. Gone is that thick black cloud that used to mess up my day. No more sitting around having pity party all day. Just like 2 + 2 = 4. I am here to stay. It's so good to me. Hey, hey, it's a good day. Yeah. Hey, hey, it's a good day. Now I can dream a dream that never, ever fades. You touch my heart. I put my trust in you. Now I'm not afraid. You touch my heart. I see colorful rainbows in the sky. You touch my heart. Just like winter, then comes spring. Just like a robin, my heart beats. Hey, hey, it's a good day. Yeah. Hey, hey, it's a good day. You touch, you touch, you touch, you touch my heart. You touch, you touch, you touch. Hey, hey, it's a good day. Happy MLK Inaugurational Day. I tell you, this is a day of celebration, and we are glad that you have joined us to celebrate. Thank you, all of our Detroit people, Highland Park, and our Facebook family. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to be talking about MLK celebration, but also the inaugural celebration. Don't go away. We'll be right back. You make me feel brand new, yes you do. And can't nobody can do it like you do. That's why you make me. Hey, hey, we are back. Okay, we're back, and let me look at the right camera this time. So sorry out there. I love you this morning. We're excited about celebration today of MLK, and I had put the question on Facebook, why should we still celebrate Martin Luther King Day? And I need you to call me and let me know what you think at 313-868-0341, 0352, or 868-4336. Call us and let us know what you feel today about the celebration and the inauguration. Today, I'm excited to have with me a first-time guest on my show. She may have been here at the studio before, but on my show, I usually have Mr. Brandon Jessup on from the Michigan Ford organization, and he sent his representative today. As a matter of fact, he's in D.C. at the inauguration, and we're excited to have with us LaJoya. What's your last name?
Latoya Henry.
And I just keep calling her LaJoya.
It's okay.
And that's because my pastor's name is LaJoya.
Okay, well, that's a good thing.
And that's why I say, okay, LaToya.
Latoya, yes.
All right, LaToya, tell us about Michigan Ford and what they do.
Okay.
And you got to talk right into the
Can
microphone.
you guys hear me? Okay. Michigan Forward began in 2008. We are a public policy organization dedicated to advocacy and creating and building better public policy, in particular for the urban center. Brandon Jessup serves as our chairman currently. I am the secretary treasurer, and we have several other board members, young people who are actively engaged around the issues of public policy, which is very important because our laws dictate and determine things that we do. We were very, very integral in 2012 and beginning in 2011 with the fight to repeal Public Act 4.
Mm-hmm.
We had a great partner with AFSCME as we came together to form Stand Up for Democracy. And so that's just one of the issues that we have worked on. And it's very important as you talk about MLK Day and the inauguration for people to understand the connection to how important it is to not only know your laws but be engaged about them, because people are making decisions that affect your everyday life.
Let's not assume that everybody knows what we mean when we say public policy.
Okay, and that's so I'll use the easy layman's term, laws.
Okay, very good. That's okay.
So when it is, for instance, when if you're wondering how is it that we have an emergency manager in the city of Detroit over our public schools, over Detroit's public schools in the city of Highland Park, Benton Harbor, and Pontiac, it is because a law was passed that put into place these steps that allowed for the state treasurer and the governor to decide to appoint an EM. But it's done by law. So
and Michigan 4 comes in to say what and do what?
We come in to say that that is not the way to address those issues that are affecting our community. The problems that those communities have is that they are in economic distress. That means they're financially strapped. They need help. And what we have seen, EMs or EFMs, depending on which state the law is in, but what we have seen that they've come in to do is strip away everything. They cut labor contracts, and not just for those in unions, but say if you're a small business and you have a contract with that city, you don't get the right to negotiate. They just come in and make the decision. So you have no recourse. They don't have to address you. They don't have to tell you what the budget is going to be, so how they're making the decisions. Any way that they're making the decisions, they don't have to, because they don't have to answer to you, because they're not elected officials. And that's the democracy is the bedrock. That's what today is so great about, the inauguration, MLK Day, because we have a country that believes in democracy. That is what we have a history of, the civil rights movement, of people fighting for our vote and everybody's vote here to be counted.
Right.
So we, so it's you know, we have ironies that are going on, things that, you know, we're celebrating this today, but we have a huge fight ahead of us in this area.
And that's why we need to keep celebrating
Yes.
the MLK celebration, because we're still not free.
You're correct. And it's important if people know their history and they do a little research. Right before MLK was killed, he was working on a poor people's campaign. And he realized where the movement was going to. It wasn't just exclusive to African Americans or blacks or whichever term you choose to use, but that there were people of all races and nationalities suffering in the country. And so we have to make that connection. We can look at our very own city and neighboring towns and see what's going on and what's happening, how we need to learn from that history and connect to it and see how he wanted better communities. It didn't just stop at saying we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of the I Have a Dream speech, which was done first here in Detroit in June, and then 2 months later they did it in DC. But we have to connect to that dream and just don't think that it stops there, because we have an African American president.
And for those out there listening, how do we connect?
We connect by being engaged. And when I say being engaged, that means that attending your city council meetings. Maybe start with reestablishing. We have those. We used to have the neighborhood groups, the neighborhood block clubs. But knowing how the changes that are going to come affect you.
Right.
If you are opposed to farms or being built in your neighborhood, you have a right to address those people that are making the decisions. If you want to see, we need investment in our communities. That's what we really need. And so you need to make sure that your legislators are advocating for investment. Detroit is not just limited to downtown and midtown. Detroit is 139, I believe, square miles. All 139 square miles need to be taken care of and addressed. And so when we think about having a dream, you may have a different way. Maybe your passion is you really want to see the landscaping in the city of Detroit taken care of. So you want to make moves to make sure that somebody's taking care of the grass. That's great. Everybody has different avenues that they can pursue it.
But somewhere along the line, we need to come together.
Come together, yes. We need to come together, and we don't have to operate in a silo because it's all connected. So what you do for the neighborhood improves the property value for the neighborhood, which means that it's more tax dollars going into the city coffers, which means that you should expect and demand better city services. So all those things connect together, and we just need to realize that and realize that we're more powerful than we realize.
Now, Michigan Forward, you're fighting for the rights of the laws of the people.
Yes.
Have you got any success stories since you've been moving around?
We were successful. Public Act 4 was defeated in November. And
that's true.
There are 83 counties in Michigan, and the no vote won in 75 of those 83 counties. And so even though the governor and the GOP-led legislator decided to, in the shame duck session, as I like to call it wasn't lame duck, it was shameful, decided to create another law that they believed listened to the will of the people, which it did not do. They created Public Act 436, but we're not done. We still believe that there is a lot of fight.
I was going to say, because every time we think that we're done, then the enemy rises its wicked head with something else.
And we must be strategic. They're strategic. There are plans. If you pay attention to the news, things are rolling out and being unveiled. This is just not by accident or happenstance.
Right.
And so we can't just live in the moment and be reactionary. We need to be proactive too. And so that's what we look forward to continuing to do as we've done. So we are not only going to be focused on that, but we need a people's movement, and that's one of the things we plan to start discussing.
And we remember the days that they used to do that. They used to do the sit-ins. They used to do the walks. What happened to those days?
Well, I think we can do a combination of both, because we have young people who are so technologically savvy that we can get information to them and we can get them engaged, and then we have people who have great experience that we need to pull from too and draw in and do. We don't have to do one or two things. We can do it all, but we just need to be engaged and continue to have hope.
How does one join Michigan Forward to be engaged with you guys?
You can go on our website or go on our Facebook page. MichiganForward.org is our website. On Facebook, we're under Michigan Forward. We have a fan page. You can get information from there.
Okay.
If you would like to receive our electronic newsletter, you can just send us a message either through the website or on the fan page, and we'll make sure that you're signed up.
And what's the contact number?
A contact number for us is 313-965-2722.
Repeat that again.
313-965-2722.
Okay.
And so we're just, we want to continue to be of service and serve the community. Like I said, get people engaged, and don't think that you have to be of a certain age. We want everybody to feel
I was going to ask you what age group, what profession, or does any of that matter?
Just
and you know what I want to talk about that. I want to take a break,
Okay.
and we'll come back and talk about that.
Okay.
Stick around. We'll be right back. Hey, we are back. Oh, wow. I was almost caught off guard on that one. Okay, I'm back. Hello. We're so excited to be back here on this MLK Inaugurational Celebration Day. And with me today is a young lady from Michigan Forward, LaToya.
yes.
I said it right that time.
Yes, you did.
LaToya Henry.
Yes.
LaToya Henry, who is sitting in with me today in place of her chairperson of Michigan Forward, Brandon Jessup, who really comes on with us a lot on this program. He's in D.C. at the inauguration. And I was asking her about getting involved. How do we get involved? As well as those that are, is it of age? Is it a profession? What is it that
we're not limited to age or profession. We've had great young people work with us, people high school, college level. We've had older people work with us, all ranges, professions. So we're not limited to age, profession, income. We really just want people who are about making sure that we are engaged, betterment of our society. And like I said, laws, also known as public policy, they shape a lot of the things that we can and cannot do. And so if you don't feel that it's responsive or meeting your needs, then that's what's great about this country. We can address those needs.
Right.
Our leadership is elected.
We do have a voice.
Yes, we do have a voice, and they are elected to represent the best interests of the people. And so we just want to make sure that everyone takes part of that and you feel connected to it because it is there for you.
Now, by you being a Michigan organization, where do you hold most of your meetings?
We're still kind of in campaign law. So we've had a lot of meetings, like I said, at AFSCME Council 25.
Okay.
But we're looking to move around. 2013 is going to be another big election year on the local level. And so we're looking to get engaged by having different types of forums. Previously, we've held forums asking the question, why are you not voting? A lot of times people just make assumptions, but for those people who feel that they are disengaged, don't want to be a part of the process, why aren't you voting? So we plan to,
and we need to know that.
We plan
really
to have
to.
conversations around that topic, and also, as I said, that we need to be strategic. We need to have plans to move forward, and so maybe you don't agree with some things that are being laid forth. And so we want to have conversations and make sure that people...
Because that's where it starts. You got to have the conversation
first. We got to have the
first.
conversation. You got to have to feel that people are being responsive, your elected leadership.
Hold that thought for a minute. Let me see who this is. Good morning. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
How's it going?
It's going good. Who is this?
This is Candido.
Okay, Candido. We are so glad he called us from D.C. He's already on the ground in D.C., but he's there and he's going to let us know about the Detroit talent that left here going to D.C. to do. Is it some of the inaugural parties tonight, or what are you guys doing?
We're actually playing at the Smithsonian tonight.
That's a great location. That's great.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
so
indeed.
Tell us some of the Detroit talent that's there.
Well, we've got Simone Matali, which is the band that I'm playing in. He's a guitar player, very renowned guitar player in Detroit. We also have Beth Griffith, who's singing vocals.
That's G's girl.
I'm sorry?
I was saying that's Giselle's girl, Beth.
Yeah.
That's a singing sister.
We also have Dina Marie Shields, who's also singing as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And did I hear you tell me this morning that Mel Ball was there too?
Mel Ball is here, and man, I mean, just everybody is so excited. There's an electricity here that's just unbelievable. It's amazing. Everyone's, hugging each other and laughing and talking. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing. I mean, it's just like the dream that Martin Luther, King talked about everybody coming together. There's such a multicultural situation here. We have Asian people, and we have Caucasian people, we have Irish people, we have black people. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, it's just so cool.
So how excited are you to be there?
I am so geeked. I am so excited. I am ready to tear the house down. I just got through exercising, as a matter of fact, so I can have my energy up to get up there and do what I love to do. And I'm so excited to represent Motown, the Motor City, the place where...
So are you guys doing Motown music, or what kind of music are you doing?
Those people started.
What kind of music are you going to do tonight? Motown music or what?
We're doing everything. We're doing Motown. We're doing country. We're doing... we may even do some opera. I mean, we're doing from every genre you can think of.
Okay.
It's going to be fantastic.
That sounds really good. Well, I'm excited for you to be there, and thank you for representing us in Detroit.
Absolutely.
And thank you for calling.
Thank you.
And next week he will be here in person, everybody. He will be here to sing for us, right?
I'll be there. I can't wait to see you.
And I can't wait to see you. I love you.
I love you more.
And thank you much.
All right, thank you.
God bless.
God bless.
All righty, now let's go back to Michigan Forward for a few more moments here. We're going to take a break so I can find out how many minutes we do have. We'll be right back.
You touch my heart. I put my trust in you. Now I'm not afraid. You touch my heart. I see colorful rainbows in the sky. You touch my heart. Just like winter, then comes spring. Just like the ramen, my heart needs. Hey, hey, it's a good day. Yeah. Hey, hey, it's a good day. You touch, you touch, you touch my heart. You touch, you touch, you touch, you touch my heart. It's a good day.
Hey, we are back, and we're talking with Latoya Henry.
Yes.
I got it right. From Michigan Forward. And we're talking about some things that are coming up that you can be a part of. What do you guys got coming up?
So as I was saying, 2013 is going to be another big election year. A lot of local elections. In particular, we know that the city of Detroit has not only the mayoral race, but also the first time in a long time that we will be electing city council members by district. I believe 7 by district, at 2 at large, and just other things. And so for people to have that same energy and passion that you have for the presidential election, we need you to have that for the 23rd.
As well as
is
there an educational piece to this?
Yes. Well, because we're nonpartisan, we don't endorse candidates, but we want to make sure that you are informed. And so we look to start engaging people with teach-ins, to give you the best information, not only about what's happening in your local elections, but we have some change in the laws. March 27th, what's known as Public Act Now 436, which is just the same emergency manager law, just rehashed over.
Right.
It goes into effect. And so as that begins to happen, you should look for us within the next month to have information about different locations where we will be giving out the information for people to get engaged around it. Like I said, we're calling it the People's Movement because that's where it matters the most, getting it on the grassroots level and getting people involved and engaged.
I got a call again. Let me get this call. Good
Cold out
afternoon.
there.
Hello.
Hey, Reverend Barnes.
Hi, how are you? And who is this calling?
This is Reverend Callie Holmes. I'm in Washington, D.C.
Hey, honey, how are you?
I am wonderfully blessed. How are you?
Good. I was hoping that you got my text.
Yes.
So you did. So but you guys been there since yesterday, right?
Actually, I arrived yesterday at 6 a.m. in the morning and had a wonderful time going to a church service at
Metropolitan AME.
AME, Episcopal National Cathedral.
Yeah, you
With
were
her
telling
first
me that
family
she
was in
texted me and
attendance
said
for
she was
church
excited.
service before
She was
their
sitting across
swearing
from the
in.
president. And this is one of my god babies, y'all, that's calling me, who used to be in Atlanta, who used to be in Detroit. Let's say that.
I
Then
can barely hear you. We're
Atlanta.
breaking up. I was a little concerned about calling in because there's so much activity here, and I'm inside of a historic building.
Okay. You're not breaking up. I can hear you good.
Good. Okay.
So don't worry about that. Let me
Okay.
ask you this question. What made you guys decide to go to D.C.?
Okay, what did you say?
What made you guys decide to get up and go to D.C. for the inaugural?
What made me decide to come?
Yes. Yes.
I'm repeating your question because it's breaking up. Did you say, why did I decide to come?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, well, two things. I wanted to be able to contribute to the prayer and the support of President Barack Obama and his family And in light of all of the fiery darts of the enemy that has been aimed, assigned, and sent to he and his family, I mean, I can only imagine. I just felt in my heart every praying, believing, faithful individual in support of that family could join in with the masses so that we gather ourselves there in prayer.
That's good. That's good.
Name it, claim it, pray, and touch and agree. And it was very rewarding. It was an emotional experience, one that I will never, ever forget. And,
so now, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, what other activities are you attending?
Really, the inauguration, we just left the inauguration. Those were the only activities. I had intended on just attending the church services yesterday. There were so many balls going on, and I have to tell you, I was exhausted. The night before I got into D.C., I went to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up at 4 so that I could drive straight in.
Well,
and
yes.
I was exhausted by the time that we had a fiery church service and went to have lunch and did a little sightseeing and basically took some history photography. It took some images.
Yeah, you went to the MLK, you went to Martin Luther King statue.
We could not get into the Martin Luther King Memorial today.
I imagine not with all the people.
Because Secret Service had everything. There were so many streets closed and so many metro train stations closed.
But guess what, Callie?
I'm sorry?
Guess what?
What?
Guess who's there working tonight?
I'm trying to. You said you're working tonight?
Yes.
Where?
Mel Ball.
You're kidding.
She used to sing with Mel Ball. That's why I had to try and tell you.
Wonderful. I'm so impressed you've given my love.
Yeah, I sure will. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you remember Condito. I don't know if you know that name. Do you remember Simone?
Who?
Simone.
Simone, yes.
Okay, Simone Bertali, is that how you say his name?
Yes, I know very much.
He's here as well.
Oh, my goodness.
So I will try and get a number for you and text it to you.
Okay.
And just call them because you
goodness.
never
I
know.
thought
They
of
may.
Mel Ball the
They're
other
gonna.
day, wondering if he was still performing and booking performances.
Yeah, they're going to be at the Smithsonian.
At the Smithsonian here in Washington?
Yes.
Oh my goodness! So you're going to be performing here tonight?
That's it. So I'm gonna text you when I get off the air and give you Simone or Mel's number.
Okay, hold on a minute, just so I can hear you. Are you saying? I'm sorry, someone's speaking.
I hear all that background noise.
Okay.
I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Listen, are you doing the interview now or what?
Yeah, we're live.
Oh my gosh! And here I am with all the noise in the background. Well, listen. Let me just hit on this one point. I knew that it was necessary to go to the Metropolitan AME Episcopal National Cathedral, and I knew that I was just drawn to go there. But this is what I want to tell you: to be there, less than 50 to 100 feet from the first family, and see the clergy ask everyone to stretch their hands and pray over the first family, especially President Obama. It was riveting. It was a Holy Ghost experience I will never, ever forget.
All right. Well, I love you for calling in.
Love you too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Love all your listeners. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Oh, I tell you, it's good to feel that energy. I can feel the energy through the phone.
Everybody's so excited.
Excited. I would love to have been there. As a matter of fact, I would love to be able to sing. So I'm going to remind Brian Alexander that you have got to let me go and sing. I should have been there this time. But that's all right. I got my picture with the president.
That's right.
So I can always keep that.
Yes.
And almost famous. And I'd like to say thank you to LaToya Henry for coming on to be with me. And thank you for letting me mess up your name.
It's okay. Thank you. You know what? usually people say Latanya. It's okay. But thank
Okay.
you for allowing me to come on. Like you said, Brandon is in D.C. He was actually a part of the inauguration committee.
But let's do this. Let's make this a claim right now. I'd love for you to come on once a month,
Okay.
Michigan Forward,
Sure.
to kind of keep us abreast of what's going on.
We sure will.
So we'll get together and talk about that, or either I'll have G call you.
Yes, no problem.
All right.
Just thank you for having us, and it's a pleasure.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being there with us through this time of this interview, and stick around. We'll be right back with more with Ken Coleman. I call him our Facebook family historian.
He is. He's the city's historian. He's great.
She said he's the city's historian. We'll be right back. Thank you, sir. Hey, we back. Did he say we were back? And we are back. I got a call. Let me see who this call is before I go to Ken, okay? Good afternoon. Uh-oh, they're gone. So, I am excited to have this young man with me who's been on with us before, who we call the historian. And I don't know if he's cool with that name or not, but that's what we call him on Facebook.
I love it.
As well as what Latoya just said, that he was the historian of Detroit. So how did you even get into this?
Man, really history has always been important to me. I think it's important to a lot of us, and particularly as African Americans. Growing up at a time, and I certainly missed the heyday. I wasn't born yet before the heyday of the civil rights movement, but caught the remnants of it. And I remember being a kindergarten student when Coleman Young was elected. And I remember when some of the great first, obviously 4 years ago, when Barack Obama was elected. So I think it's important to capture this history. And so,
but when did you become an official activist?
Well,
because you've been active, as far as I know, for a while.
I think what happens is, certainly what happened with me is, you find yourself in the midst of people who are doing great things, and a lot of them are everyday people. Some of them are family and friends. Most of it, a lot, I guess, has had to been the fact that being a reporter here in town, you get a chance to meet people and interview.
So
people.
You weren't active in your younger years.
Not really. I mean, it really has been mainly as an adult, and I think but I think me and my wife sort of started this way, being reporters and covering a lot of those moments.
Okay.
And sort of realizing that we're part of this community too. And,
I thought maybe like your son. What's your son's name?
Jackson.
I thought like Jackson, because he's involved at an early age because he goes to different events you guys take him to.
Well, let me
as well as watching his mommy become the board of directors for Wayne State University.
Yeah. You know something? Well, he is getting a great training. Jackson is 4-year-old Jackson. But I'll take something back. You asked me how I got started. I mean, I started out by answering the question by saying, being around family and friends who were just organizing and doing things. Some of my earliest recollections, Ortheia, is being a 4 and 5 and 6-year-old child, about Jackson's age, and going with my mom to from the ground up meetings, the organization that was very much dedicated to ending stress, that police decoy program in Detroit in the 70s. I remember being a young child and seeing, the Kenny Cockrells and the Sheila Cockrells and all the folks, Greg Hicks, all those great men and women who were, seeking to put pressure on government to abolish really a police decoy program that was really killing black folks.
Oh, it was.
And seeing that at 5 and 6 years old, you never know how a seed gets planted, right?
Right.
Just going through that at 5 or 6,
Because you said you remember Coleman Young
Yeah,
in 4.
yeah, and of course that same period, Coleman Young being elected in November 1973 and abolishing stress, putting it out of business.
Let's come on up to the history
Yes,
of
ma'am.
today and the Martin Luther King, which is still history, but what are some of the things that we may not know that you may know something about MLK?
Well, I don't know if I can impart something that people don't know, but a couple of significant things sort of struck me, and I posted some of them on Facebook today. You know, many of us know this, but may not remember it all the time, and recognize that the state of Michigan was really progressive in terms of adopting an official King holiday.
Okay.
You know, it was people like State Senator Jackie Vaughn in the Michigan
Conyers.
legislature. Yeah, John Conyers in the halls of Congress in
Stevie
DC.
Wonder.
And Stevie Wonder. 3 Detroiters. How about that?
Hello.
How about that? And now we have a nationally celebrated holiday. Has been that way since 1986, largely because of those 3 people who happen to be from Detroit.
And why should we keep celebrating?
Well, I think it's a great question. We get a chance to travel a lot. I've worked in a couple statewide campaigns, and I've been in Alpena, and I've been in Oscoda, and I've been in the UP, and I've been some places where even if the King holiday is recognized, I'm not sure that everybody that lives there understands
What it is, why should
and
they?
the struggles, and the struggles that Martin Luther King and
They're just
hundreds
glad
of
to have a
thousands
day
of
off
people-
work.
Yeah, and while it ought to be a day where we pause, it also ought to be a day where we reflect. And so what I'm excited about is when we talk about the King holiday, it's just not a day off of work.
Right.
To go to the movie theater or do whatever or wash clothes. What we've really
I'd like
tried
to
do-
add to that reflect.
Sure.
It's also a day to see what I can do.
Yeah, and that's where I was going.
Okay.
A day of service. And you see a lot of organizations now, nonprofits and the like, adopt that day of service theme. So
Right.
Even as we speak right now, in dozens of places throughout our city and hundreds of thousands of places across the country, people are doing service projects. They're feeding the hungry. They are doing teach-ins like LaToya Henry talked about around history and part of
Right.
that history, but some real-life issues. And I, by the way, happen to agree with Michigan Forward. You know, we need to get rid of the emergency manager law and stomp it out for good. One of the great service projects, it seems to me, is imparting, this history that happened in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. A lot of it is still happening in different ways now. And so I think that's what I like about the holiday, and I think that's why we ought to continue to celebrate the King holiday.
Well, I do know that as soon as we get this law straight, the powers that think they be, they've already got another thing set up from A to XYZ.
Yeah. Well, there is always a plan. And,
Yes.
you, like a lot of others, have been blessed to come up at a time when you saw dramatic change in this country. I remember being a young kid and driving. My grandparents would go back home to Carthage, Mississippi every summer in August when the plant shut down. They were both factory workers. And in those wee years, when I was really young, I remember my grandfather would speed through Kentucky and not over speed limit, but get through Kentucky.
Try to get through because
absolutely.
there was nowhere for you to check in the hotel.
Couldn't eat. And so when we got a little bit older and said, hey, we want to stop at Wendy's, we want to stop at McDonald's, he tell us a story about there was a time when you couldn't
You could
stop.
not stop.
So we took
Right.
we took bag lunches. We
And
took
that's
chicken
when we
and
had,
took-
and I overheard G talking to you about the shoe boxes.
Yeah,
That's
so
when we
that-
had shoe boxes with chicken and bread and everything in it because we could not get out to go and eat.
But even in those times, I think I would argue that there was a sense of community and a sense of purpose.
It was a great sense of community.
Yeah.
I think more so than it is now.
That's where I'm
And
going.
that bothers me.
That is the beauty, I think, of continuing to celebrate the King holiday. And I talked about the concern that I have that maybe other parts of the state and country don't celebrate it. I think we need to do better at internalizing it now. We need to take on community service projects.
Let me get this
sure.
call. Okay, I'm going to try again. Hello? Oh, hello.
Hey, Reverend Ortheia, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Who is this?
This is Kevin Tolbert, live from D.C.
Hey, Kevin. How are you? I'm here with Ken Coleman.
Hi, King Coleman.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great.
How's things going in D.C.?
D.C. is outstanding. It's 20 degrees warmer than 4 years ago, so in that regard, it's beautiful.
No, that's
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So how excited are you to be there?
I'm excited to be here, always excited to be representing our city and representing our members of the UAW and just being a representative of my mama and daddy. So I'm happy
Have
to
you
be
been
here
able to
and
see?
share in the excitement and energy for this second term for President Obama.
Have you been able to see any other Michigan folks there?
Oh, absolutely. Lots of people from Michigan. Michigan, you know, we definitely delivered for Obama during the last election, and
Right.
so a lot of people came out to celebrate. So I just saw Sherry Gay Degano. I saw the principal of Cass Tech.
I understand
Lisa Phillips.
Kathy Garrett is there.
I'm sorry?
Kathy Garrett.
Kathy Garrett as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Eddie McDonald, who's a real well-known local political person.
Right.
Vice President Jimmy Settles, Bob King from the UAW, Carla Swift. Lots of people are here from Michigan representing.
So what are your plans for this today? Are you there just to see the inaugural this morning or what?
No, well, I got a chance to go to the inaugural, and I'm blessed to be able to go to the Michigan Ball. So there's a ball.
All
pretty
right.
much everywhere there's a hotel tonight, and
It's
all
going to
kind
be
of
where?
people
What
celebrating
hotel?
and performing.
What hotel is it going to be at?
The Michigan Ball, I'm not sure of the exact location, but I'm also going to another ball down at the Air and Space Museum and the Victory Party as well. So.
Oh, my, that's exciting.
Yeah.
So is this
Really
your
excited.
first
the president
inaugural?
had really great themes, too, so I was really excited for his message.
Is this your first inaugural or did you make the first one?
No, I came out in 2009, and it was, like I said, really, really cold then. And I didn't get a chance to go to any of the inaugural balls, so I'm happy to be able to do that this time.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Kevin, I have a question that certainly we just saw, as you witnessed in person, saw the president's address after being sworn in. And we also saw and heard that shout out to Detroit.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Where you were standing, where you were watching, I imagine you were around some Detroiters. How did you guys feel when he mentioned the streets of Detroit?
Well, not only were we around Detroiters, we were all decked out in our finest Detroit garb,
Right.
thanks to the Tigers organization. So even when he said Detroit, even the people around us reacted, and we all cheered and shouted. Just because, of significance, what he said was he was not, we didn't want to forget about any child, even those childs who were less fortunate children born less fortunate in Detroit. So, that just definitely warms our spirit to know the president's thinking about us and knowing that we need his help to turn around the lives of a lot of people.
And knowing also that you guys have really worked hard at getting him in once again.
Yes, we worked really hard to get him there, and then we want to work very hard to, and be able to give him the ability to implement some things that have real change in Detroit, because we need some real change.
And that's so true. I don't want to belabor the point and hold you too long. I wanted to ask you one more thing. I'm asking this question today. Why should we celebrate or keep the MLK celebration alive?
Oh, wow. Because here was not just one of the greatest African Americans, but one of the greatest men this country has ever seen. His message of tolerance, of working together for all mankind, was one that is very unique in our country. And so the things that he stood for, the leadership that he showed, it's just really, really outstanding. And, one time a young person said to me, well, that's old, and that's for old people and old this. We have to remember Martin Luther King died a very, very young man. And most of the things that he did in his lifetime, he did as a very young man.
Right.
He took over the Montgomery bus boycott at a very young age. And so it shows that young people drive change in this country. We need young leaders. But then we also need people who get educated, who have intelligence, and risk it all to go out here to make this world a better place. And if we can't celebrate that, then I don't know how we can celebrate anything else. So it's definitely something we need to continue and just lift up and honor the values and the things that Martin Luther King stood for. So I'm just honored to be a part on this day and just hope that we continue this tradition in great form. And then lastly, in Detroit, it was Congressman Conyers, who was one of the key people in making sure that bill was passed. So we just played a huge role in that. We're getting ready to celebrate the 50th anniversary of his march in Detroit this year. So we're really looking forward to that with the NAACP and other civil rights organizations leading the charge. Lots of things Martin Luther King lived for are still very, very pertinent today.
And that's interesting you mentioned that, because Ken Coleman just mentioned that earlier in terms of 3 people that were a part of that. And he mentioned, who was the other 2?
State Senator Jackie Vaughn, making sure that, because as you know, Kevin, the state of Michigan was progressive in the sense that it began to celebrate officially the holiday before the federal government made it official. And so we've been progressive in that regard, that State Senator Jackie Vaughn did a lot of the heavy lifting in Lansing. Congressman John Conyers did the heavy lifting in Washington, D.C.
And then we mentioned Stevie Wonder.
And Stevie Wonder.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's always got the music in there.
I mean, how many people have the Hotter Than July album with Happy Birthday on it?
I just want to say 2 quick things, because I'm here and I can feel the energy all the way through the phone.
Sure.
One, Ken Coleman, you hurry up and get that book out, because the facts and the stuff that you share about history and about our area is something that is so vitally important that we never need to forget. If you're not friends with Ken Coleman, you better add him on Facebook, because you can hear so many different things about our area. So Ken, get that book out.
I appreciate it. I'm working hard to get it out this year.
Okay. And then secondly, Reverend Ortheia, I just thank you for allowing me to come and call in and share my thoughts.
And I thank you for always being there for us.
And I'm really, really proud of our area, of how we stood up for President Obama, and how we came out in really, really strong numbers. Detroit voted 98% in favor of Barack Obama. By the time Barack Obama left Detroit, he was well ahead. So we play a very, very integral and key role in getting the president elected. So, we have a lot to be proud of, and we have a lot of work to do, but we ought to be fired up doing it, because we've already proven that we can win when we work together.
Indeed.
Well, I appreciate you, and I will see you soon right here in this seat.
All right. See you soon. Thank you
so
much.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Safe travels, Kevin.
I tell you, the activism of our young people is great in Detroit, more than a lot of people think it is or give credit for it to be.
And Kevin is a young brother. I mean, but he is steeped in the history. He understands that he stands on the shoulders of the Dave Moores and the Buddy Battles,
right?
The Nelson Jack Edwardses, and now working hand in hand under Jimmy Settles' direction. It's just a new generation of strong.
It's wonderful
leadership.
to see that legacy still living.
Absolutely. Particularly as a black man, I'm very, very proud.
So now, tell us about this book. I think we talked about it when you were here last time.
Last time I'm doing. Actually, I'm glad Kevin mentioned it, and you mentioned it, because I'm putting the final touches on it now. Really working to have it released next month to coincide with Black History Month. And if I'm so fortunate enough to get it out, I hope to be able to come back. And share some good news about it. But there's some mentions of Ortheia Barnes-Kennerly.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah, there are a couple of them. there are a couple special moments in your life that I have captured in the annals. So I would definitely love to come back and
I can't even imagine what kind of history I would give unto your book.
It's all good. It's all good.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure we talk about that.
Absolutely.
We are going to take a break, and we'll be right back with more of Ken Coleman. Don't go away.
It's a good day.
We're back. Oh. Hey, we are back. And guess what? We have with us a young man that is a pastor of my church who has also been on here before with G. They used to do some hosting for me when I would take off. But he's a rapper, a writer. He's a man of the word. And today he has put a piece together for this day of celebration. And I'd like you to meet and greet Pastor Eric Alexander. How you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. It's good to be here with you.
Went to get in his car, started the car, locked the car, and left the car running. Didn't know how he was going to get back in, but you made it out.
I made it out. I did the little B&E for you.
I love it.
And I made it.
Good. So now, this piece, tell us about this piece.
This piece is a worship piece, and it's a piece of power.
Okay.
It's talking about God calling us forth. As a matter of fact, the title of it is called Come Forth. And just, thinking about how President Barack Obama has come forth not only once, but twice
now.
Through all kinds of difficulties and all kind of negative things against him. He's done it by the grace of God.
Right. A great offering.
Yes.
See, I'm still on that word offering.
Yes, he is.
That's the thing that he preached about to us last Sunday before last, being an offering. Every one of us out there need to be an offering.
That's right.
That's why you came here. There was no other reason that you came on this earth other than to be an offering. So I'll shut up and let him do his piece, because you know me, I'll be going on. Eric?
This piece is called Come Forth. From the moment of Alpha to the present day, I heard the voice say, Son, come forth. And his voice I obeyed. Termination was contemplated, but I was called before birth, so I could not be fated. Emancipated from all of the weapons against me, I am king, and I am kingdom. I think it not to be robbery. I have a crystal understanding of who I be. I'll take a knee, bow my blessed head to the ground beneath me. Thank the everlasting infinite one unashamedly. Rise up, ready to do my thing. He made me brash, but it's all for his name. I am kingdom, kingdom is me, one and the same. He says, son, write the vision and make it plain. I nodded my head and proceeded to scribe hell's demise against me. It desired me dead, but today I rise, ready to write with the signature that will outlive me, writing with the spirit of a David, annihilating all of my enemies.
You know what is so wonderful about that? Yay! Is that it fits Obama and MLK.
Amen.
They both. And isn't it something that they would have the celebration of the inaugural on the same day as the MLK celebration? Somebody's calling here. Let me see if I can get this call. Hello?
Good afternoon, Ortheia. This is Brother Knight. I enjoyed that poetry, but
Thank you,
that's
sir.
not only for Barack and Michelle Obama. That's for Malcolm X,
Ha
Garvey, Angela Davis, Stokely Carmichael, H. Ralph Brown, Dick Gregory, Huey Newton, Eldridge Cleaver, Bobby Fields, the last poets.
And
But,
you.
yeah, I really enjoyed that, and we hope we'll have a better year this year, and hope a lot of the people that's up there in Washington, like my godfather John Conyers, and that will be able to take care of some business and get some money down here for the Detroiters, for the inner city, and not for all the millionaires that are here. So keep me and my wife in your prayers, and keep the struggle going. And I hope, and everybody that's listening to the air, everybody that's listening to Channel 33, support that station, because there's truth and vision and stuff. So I'll keep me in your prayers. And
I
keep
will
y'all
do
in my
that,
prayers.
Pastor.
Amen.
And Pastor
Have a
Knight, we
blessed-
love you. We love what you have done in the city. You have been a great asset in our city. You have been a great
you.
king in our city.
Amen.
And thank you for your kingdom building.
Thank you.
We love you.
I love you too.
God bless you.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Deep in my heart, I still believe we shall overcome someday. We love you out there, Detroit. We love you, Highland Park. We love you, Facebook family. Thank you, Henry Tyler. Thank you, R.J. Watkins. And thank you, Sean. Thank you to Giselle Caver, my daughter. Thank you, Ken Coleman. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Candido. Thank you, Callie Burke. Oh, I tell you, so many people to thank. Thank you, Eric Alexander. All of you that have watched us today from around the country and the world. We love you. Keep us in your heart and in your prayers. And I believe we shall overcome someday. Happy MLK and Inaugurational Day.